Welcome everyone to this month's edition of Midlife and Thriving newsletter, where it's all about guiding midlife women back to the most important relationship of their lives with themselves through the art of self-care, ensuring that through their thriving, they are enabled to take their brilliance out into the world with energy, confidence and joy, role modeling for generations to come. And this month we are focusing on team well-being, because obviously self-care for the individual, absolutely, but we also know that in the workplace it's important to have functional teams, and functional teams function well when they are well. And so we're really going to be looking at a program called the Body Wisdom Program that has been designed to do just that, to really meet the needs of teams. And I am blessed to be joined this month by the founder and members of the collaborative team. So let me just introduce everyone. We have Claudia Binder, who is the founder of the Body Wisdom Program. Welcome, Claudia.
Well, welcome. Hello, and thank you for having me. It's always good to be here. Yeah.
Always great to have you. And to also introduce Sarah Young, who is one of the collaborative partners.
Hi, good to be here. Thank you.
Great to have you
Short
here.
and sweet,
and
right?
Iris B. Fisher. That's all good.
No, thank you so
Iris
much
B.
for having
Fisher,
me.
who is another member. Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
I too am a member of this amazing dynamic team of women. However, today my role is to hold the space and ask the questions. So we're going to really jump in, because I think that this is, you know, when we look at the statistics around team well-being, when we see how many people are really suffering in the workplace on so many different levels, mental well-being, their emotional well-being, not feeling part of, all of those things that really impact and create stress, that, you know, we need to be having these conversations as leaders. So whether you're somebody who is leading a team or whether you're part of a team, you know, this work is all about bringing team well-being front and center and putting things in place that have a long-term effect, not a quick fix. The quick fixes are just that, and they don't stay. So this is all about longevity. So I'm going to start with the very first question, which is, and I'm going to put this to you, Claudia, and then obviously if anyone else can add, fantastic. But what do you see as the primary stresses impacting employees, particularly in high pressure environments, you know, maybe healthcare and education? I'm sure there are others.
I would say from experience, it is overload. It is overload on all levels, in all forms and at all points of being. It's a consistent struggle to keep up with what we see, with what we hear, and with how we have to perform. And I think overload, I would use that as the umbrella subject to talk a little bit more about it. But one of the things I realize when I speak to my clients or when I speak to people is that even during a conversation, people sometimes take their phone up or pick their phone up and look at their phone, and in an office environment, people send each other WhatsApp messages even though they're sitting like 3 desks apart and things like that. There is no more. What we are missing is, so we have a digital overload on one side, and we have on the other side, if you imagine the scale, I always love the visualizing the scale, but if I have consistent overload of whatever it is, having no boundaries, having maybe a team that doesn't function properly because of different interests or different expectations, where people wouldn't speak up because they are worried they lose their job if they speak up. So communication is blocked and so on. And all this stress which we experience consistently, I feel, and this is my personal opinion, I have not Googled AI to ask whether whether that is right, but this is what I feel. We just have an overload of social media and of availability of information. And even if I look at some people, coaches, and myself included, where I came to the point where I said, and now no more training. I don't need another training, because what do I do with another training or more knowledge? I don't even have time to put what I know already into action. And I can only assume and think, and I feel it and I hear it, that it's the same for people in teams or individuals, that we all have reached a level of overwhelm, and that's what I think should be the umbrella subject of your question. Sarah, what would you say in your leader stage-wise? You are also working with leaders. You are going deep as well in your work. What would you say is the main player here?
Well, you said overload, and I really agree. And overload, overwhelm. And I heard you also say expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a really lethal mix of expectations that individuals have of themselves, really high expectations of themselves, and women often, and the external expectations. And the more competent people prove themselves to be, the more they say, yes, I can do that, the more pressure and more overloaded they become. And when you were speaking about the digital influence as well, Claudia, I had an image straight away in my head of us almost mentally having too many tabs open. And it's like a crash situation. Our heads are so filled with information, thoughts, feelings coming at us from every which direction, that I think in terms of the body wisdom program and this idea of how to give people a sustained sense of well-being that can help them meet their challenges on a daily basis, we need to shut some of those tabs down, literally put the phones down, but to have techniques that allow us to drop out of our heads and into our bodies and start to hear the voices inside as being the really important ones to help us cope with the voices outside a little bit, if that makes any sense.
Makes total sense. Awesome. Absolutely. Yeah. And then I also think, like, when we talk about having all these tabs open, and every tab that is open triggers a thought, right? So if I see a tab open of my bank account, or I see a tab open of the beautiful car or the beautiful house, and if I have another tab open, I automatically start to think about it, to see it, to visualize it, maybe even, yeah. And like we talked before we met today, visually say to our brain, there is no difference whether we visualize something or whether we really experience it. And if we consistently look at open tabs which show lack, or which show I'm not good enough, whatever, I take it in, it sits in my body, it gets stored in my body, and all these micro messages become a real problem, and can turn into a bigger problem. And I would say that, I always say that the lockdown has given us the rest, and I will not stop talking about the lockdown. Even people would say, let's not talk about it again, it's long over. No, now is the time where we have to really think about it, in my opinion. And because the effects, the results are coming consistently back to us. And I don't know, Iris, what do you think? Is there like a very likely, is it very likely that a lot of people came out with trauma from that period and
I do see that. I do see that because in those moments it was like a cut in between the connection from human to human, and we felt very insecure, but also towards our own self, like how safe is our body? Can we trust our own bodies? And this insecurity has a lot of ripple effects. But like you said, I mean, beforehand, the overwhelm and all these tabs open, they pull us out of our center. And by that, we are more focused towards the outside and are losing ourselves and not very aware of what's going on inside. And this is when the stress sort of is driving us and moving us into directions where we are not really functioning well any longer.
And Iris, would you just like to quickly tap into the power of visualization and into the power of maybe hypnotherapy? Even you've done, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of hours of group hypnotherapy. How do you think hypnotherapy can affect our well-being at work? How can hypnotherapy affect team connection and so on?
It's massive because we are very often sort of guided by our subconscious mind and are not very aware of it. What kind of beliefs are we holding that are blocking us? What kind of emotions are we driven by? What are the triggers? We don't really reflect upon them, and it's not accessible by the conscious mind. So we actually need to go deeper and look what is lying down there. What is the root cause? What creates this kind of mess that I'm experiencing and where I'm actually losing my balance and my inner peace? So to me, hypnotherapy is like the rescue modality out of these kind of struggles. And just think about it, the words that you are saying to yourself. I mean, you had this wonderful example beforehand. We just laugh about them, but in the end, they create a feeling inside, and the feeling creates a hormonal response and so on. So it also has the consequences.
Okay, so I think I want to, this is very spontaneous, something that comes up right now for me, but I think this is maybe nice also for everybody who is watching. And, you know, like digging into the subconscious, yes, and clearing out all the things that actually hold us back. Lots of it is childhood programming, usually. But hypnotherapy is also like, if you compare it with the taps, it could be the one tap that fills the other side of the scale. It could be the one tap, if we put that into the opposite side of stress on an everyday basis, it could help us as well to balance and regulate. And maybe you've done it already many times with me, I don't know, but let's do it again. And for those people especially who are watching, please close your eyes and we just demonstrate now what is possible. Yeah. So please close your eyes and imagine that you are in your kitchen or in a kitchen. And there is a beautiful basket with fruits and vegetables. And you go there, you take a lemon out of the basket. You feel the lemon. You anticipate lemon juice. You take that lemon and the waxy skin and you have the sour smell and you put it on your cutting board in your kitchen, anticipating lemon juice again. And you take a knife, you cut the lemon in two halves. The juice is running onto the board, the sour, tangy smell and comes into your nose, and you pick up half of that lemon now and you bring it in front of your face, in front of your nose and mouth. And again, you smell the lemon, you anticipate lemon juice. And in your mind's eye, you open your mouth and you sink your teeth into that juicy flesh of this awesome, beautiful, freshly delivered from Italy lemon. And now you can open your eyes again. Yvonne, what happened?
My mouth is watering. I can feel all the juices flowing in my mouth. It's like, oh my goodness, I've literally just bitten into that lemon.
Correct. Sarah, Iris?
Yeah, really powerful.
Yeah. I could smell it, I'm quite a smell person. I get, connected to smells, and I could smell it. Yeah.
And did you feel your saliva was increasing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's always very powerful. It's a powerful exercise to do, and it shows the power of the body, right? And how the mind and the body are connected.
Iris, does it still work for you? You must have done it many, many times.
Yeah, it still works for me, but it just sort of drift off sometimes. But yeah, it's powerful.
So now imagine if a thought of a lemon can create the saliva in your mouth to increase. What can the thought of any stressful thought do to your body? Where is it sitting? Where does it rest in your body? Where does it create a reaction in your body? And I'm starting with simple things. I'm starting with tension and pain in the neck, which results in headache, which results in back pain. Okay, so these are the signs where if I would take a survey and bring a survey out and say, hey team, where do you feel the tension in your body? Share the tension map and let people, mark. Very, very often I find they mark on the neck and in the lower back, and often also on the jaw. And so this is where I would start. I would start even in team coaching or in, like with my body wisdom program. This is where we start with the body. We release tension, and we become aware what is the tension related to in my body. And so now when we're talking about leaders and teams or mothers and anybody who is a decision maker, a leader, a high performer, it's a lot of stuff you have to carry on your shoulders. And if you don't release it, you must be Superman or Superwoman to really carry it for a long time, to make it, if you don't balance out, there might be the day where you just can't carry it anymore. And
Absolutely.
this is where the body wisdom program, or what we all do, positive intelligence, physical intelligence, RTT, this is where we become such a powerful source of tools that we can actually address all of these issues. The thing is, it has to be done consistently.
So before you go on, Claudia, let me pose the question, because you're getting ahead of me. You're getting ahead of me. So exactly that. So you've kind of really highlighted really clearly, and it was great to do something practical, because for people to understand how the body holds those sensations and how the little daily stresses, and it may be that you're just on the train, someone steps on your shoe, but it really upsets you, right? And that becomes something that you end up holding, and something else happens, and the constant knock-on effects, much less going into work, and then all of the things that actually happen in the workplace. And this is daily, right? This is daily, this build-up. So when we are not closing any of those tabs, but just adding more and more tabs, is it any wonder then that we get high stress levels, that burnout occurs? All of those things are, created from holding all of that in the body. So my question to you, and I know you were going into this, Claudia, but I want to pose the question, is how can the Body Wisdom Program specifically help teams across any sector, so not just those that are in high pressure fields, manage stress and avoid burnout?
Well, the number one that comes to my mind now is to share with people how to activate oxytocin. And activating oxytocin is something you can do with your dog. You can do even in a group like here in our computer. Oxytocin is the love hormone, is the bonding hormone, is the first hormone you receive when your mother breastfeeds you. That is the hormone where your whole being feels safe, where you know you belong, there is trust. And before, when we grow up, before we learn all the things where we can't trust and where we have to be careful, and where all the saboteurs are born and created. But that hormone, I think, is one of the most important for teams. And yes, Sarah, I can see Sarah being strongly supporting me here, because it's so simple. But how often do you see people go into a meeting room before a tough meeting, and they all go into a Kate Winslet and open their arms and visualize an amazing outcome of the meeting and the amazing people they have the meeting with, and understand that some of the members in the meeting might have personal issues or whatever it is. Just give this 5 minutes and say, hey, before I go in there, I do a Kate Winslet. I stand on top of my Titanic and I visualize my beautiful future, and I take a few deep breaths, and 40,000 neurons behind our heart release oxytocin into our bloodstream. And if you do it once, it works as well. But if you do that all the time, if you train your body to do something like that all the time, you create not only a ripple effect in your office, in your team, you're taking the stuff home. Because the moment, and this is what Iris said before, the moment, we were disconnected from all the others, that was the moment when we had like a funnel open for, destruction, for self-destruction, because we need people and we need to feel safe, and we need to feel safe when we go to work. And there's not even a problem, isn't even discussed. Performance isn't even discussed. The attitude, how you show up, isn't even discussed. This is the first step. And you do that every time. This is where change is happening. You come back after lunch in Asia. I'm often spend half of my time or more than that in Asia. When people come back in Asia from lunch, they all had a big bowl of rice. If I eat a big bowl of rice, for them, they're so used to it, and it's maybe a slightly different story. But if I eat a bowl of rice and I come back to the office, Jesus, I need to sleep for half an hour, at least half an hour. So what do? I'm tired. I can't focus. I scroll on my phone. And, the employer is actually, employers are paying for that time. Employers don't like to see that. Everybody knows it.
Yes.
Everybody is aware of it. Nobody speaks up. But what about if a team comes back after lunch, 2:00, we meet, 5-minute twist and shout, okay? What do? We create serotonin in our body. We release, by twisting our waist, we release oxytocin, serotonin into our gut. This is where 95% of serotonin is produced. Again, if I do it once, might not have a big effect, but if I do it weekly, daily, every time, with the support of the others, I mean, that's to me like we should do a video, audio tape about this, Iris, like something to visualize really this positive environment. So did I answer your question, Yvonne? Did I drift off a little?
You did, because I think it's what's wonderful is actually by demonstrating some of the things that are included in the program. This is about, how is this program different? Because it's incredibly practical. So if I wanted to put it verbally, it's incredibly practical. It's not just listening to lots of theories about stuff. Yes, understanding serotonin, oxytocin, understanding visualization, but actually, yes, having enough understanding and then doing the work, having practical ways of bringing that into your daily life, because these things do not take loads of time either, which I think is the important part, is to remember. And knowing that you can do them as the individual, but also as the team. How amazing is that? What a game changer.
And if you put every month, you put a little bit money into your bank account because you're thinking about your future, right? We need to do the same with our body. We need to think about the future. We need to, activate our senses. When did you the last time, the first time I've been touching my palm and really focusing on how it feels, on the temperature and things like that, what we do in PQ coaching, I was like, whoa, wow. Like when you realize that you haven't felt yourself in such a long time, and you take it all for granted. You don't take your bank account to grow for granted. You have to put something in, and that's what we have to do for our body as well. And if we have a good body and a good mind, and we leave the house like that in the morning, we bring something to the table which is almost impossible to value with salary. Because if you come to the office, to the space where you spend most of your day, without feeling overwhelmed, without feeling you're carrying all the weight of the world on your shoulders, because you go to a place where you feel you belong, my God, such a difference. And I do love all these sales trainings and all these coaching trainings and all this, and I've done and I'm doing them myself. But how much do we really take from this forward in our life? How much do we really practice on an everyday basis from what we learn? And the Body Wisdom program, so you say, how is it different? It is very different because it's for the individual. You don't have to talk about your problems, your trauma, your issues with your boss or with your colleague. It's not about that. It's about you, but in an environment where other people do the same as you do, and that already alone connects. And connection is a tribal instinct which we can't shake it off. It sits here in our reptilian brain, and it will not go away until the world is done, I believe.
Do you mind if I jump in for a moment? Because I'm really wanting to say something about this collaborative nature of the work that we do and that teams do inherently. And with a background in education and teaching and leading in drama departments in secondary schools in this country and in Asia, one of the really beautifully powerful things that came out of that on a daily basis was the power of collaboration and synergy between people when they know how to work healthily together and take mutual accountability for what they're doing. And within the drama sphere, we understand how important it is to utilize fully your physical skills, your physiology, your voice, and how you connect with other people around you. So taking everything that Claudia just said there, and that sense of belonging that you mentioned, Claudia, that sense of belonging that we all have innately or that we wish for, when you can engender that in a team in a healthy, collaborative way, you're shooting for the stars in terms of what you are capable of achieving together. And the momentum is amazing to watch. It is awe-inspiring when everyone has an understanding of each other's skills, of where they are at in mindset and physically, working together with a common aim and really inspired and purposeful, all those things. A team is just such a powerful, dynamic battery to have in an organization. I get as you can see, I get quite excited about it. But I saw students, teenagers doing this for years. And then I thought, come on, we need to take this out to adults. You know, we need to have these self-same skills and knowledge and experiential learning transferred to professionals who are so in need of it.
Mm. And Sarah, you just said something super important. You know, we teach our children, to use their body and to, in drama classes, for example, or even in PE classes during school, to move. And why do we do that? And we all know that if I have a child and I send my child to school, and they come back and say I only have 1 hour of exercise a week, I would say, no, cannot. Well, we have to add on. We have to do something. So for children, we say, yes, 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 you have to do it. Why does nobody say that to an adult?
Mm-hmm.
And also, one more time, going back, Iris, maybe you want to say something about, childhood programming, and how childhood programming, if you have, for example, a scarcity mindset, or if you've been criticized as a child all the time, and you're then becoming a team member in a corporation or in a wherever company. Can you say a little bit about the childhood programming and how releasing this tension from the body and hypnotherapy can influence that?
I mean, if you consider a small child has a different brainwave state, like we as an adult, we are mainly in the beta, which means like an everyday consciousness. But a young child or like an infant, they are in delta. And when you look at the hypnotic state, that's the state when you take in the most. So the very first 7 years are more or less the foundation of a personality. And whatever you experience then filters very strongly into your everyday life and into your way how you approach life as such.
Correct.
So
And this,
if you experience within your family environment that there's a scarcity and you always have to worry, and you take that on, that's part of your upbringing.
exactly. And this is where, Yvonne, this is where then, positive intelligence comes in a lot, where when we recognize that these things which we brought from our childhood to the table in our office, in our family, in our relationships, then is no wonder that sometimes we struggle to maintain connections or to achieve a goal, because maybe we think we are not worth it anyway. Maybe we think I'm not in the same league. I'm not belonging here. I never learned healthy boundaries. I never learned safety. And this is where, especially Iris, and I work with Iris many times myself and even my children, and this is where we can release out that we don't come with a manual how to be a good leader, how to be a good mother, how to be a good whatever. But we can at any time in our life go and release those outdated beliefs from our subconscious mind. And that's not exactly a part of the body wisdom program, but it is an additional part of the body wisdom program, where Iris can not only maybe help us with all the positive with the positive hypnotherapy, visualizing goals, achieving goals, but also on a one-on-one basis, help people to overcome these struggles and then to reconnect back into the group and cha-chung, oxytocin. And this is so amazing and so powerful what we are talking here, but we need to make people feel it.
Yes. Yeah, and I think and experience it, because this is, as Sarah said, it's experiential. You've got to be in it and actually feel the feel those changes. And by doing a lot of these activities on kind of daily basis in like little moments, it's amazing the difference that it can make. It's amazing what you can release. It's amazing how you can start to see and feel things differently. And when we talk about the chemicals, when we talk about the connection that we start to have with people, I cannot even count how many office spaces I've been into and felt the complete disconnect from people to, you know, everyone's just in their own little block, in their own little space. There is no, you know, they may speak, but there's no real connection. And I think this is one of the things that I love about the Body Wisdom program, is that there's a lot of individual work and the benefits that are gained from that, but there's also this coming together. And actually, for me, just having that highly functional team where they support each other's needs, and you know, they respect each other's well-being and boundaries and things like that, can just completely change, completely transform an environment. And that for me is, I mean, that's the gold. For me, that's the gold in Body Wisdom. And I don't know what anybody else thinks or feels about that.
Oh, I'm with you on that completely. And you can see that, like you say, when you walk into a room, you can see when you have a healthy group dynamic or a team that is aware of themselves, what they need and what others need in the room, the body language that you can observe is completely different. And there's an openness. There is almost like peripheral vision is switched on. And the total opposite of that is the caved in body and the focus on a small space and not having eye contact. And like Claudia said at the very beginning, even messaging people in the same room. It's two sort of polar extremes, really. But it is so exciting to walk into the energy of a room where the team is healthily engaging with one another, and they're all focused, laser focused on what they want to achieve, and they hold each other up in order to get there. It's quite infectious. I always think it's quite infectious.
Yes. And sorry, Yvonne, I hope you can stop me anytime, but I just want to bring a quick example in, because a lot of people who work with us, they ask about the ROI, right? What do I get if I work with you? And I don't have a statistic yet, because Body Wisdom is pretty new. I only have the statistics from positive intelligence, physical intelligence, and RTT, which, you know, clearly shows that we are using the top best tools currently available, I think, on this planet. If I don't, you know, if I'm not overdoing it here, but it is pretty good. And where, you know, like, and how can I see it? How can I measure the advantage I get from working with you? And I was thinking yesterday, I'll give you an example. We went out for dinner. I'm here in Austria at the moment, so we went for Austrian dinner. And we ordered some salad, and we ordered fish, and then I ordered a goulash. And then I looked at my daughter, and they had two options for the goulash, a small one, a big one. Okay. You might now think I'm drifting off, but I'm not. So I looked at my daughter, and I knew she also wants goulash. So I said to the waitress, excuse me, can you make that a big portion? And if I look at it as a business owner, if this would be my business, and I would stand there and I would take the order, I would go, yes, another 10 euros extra or whatever. That's how I'm programmed. That's the way I think. That's the way I'm working, right? But the waitress was standing there, and she was like, oh, now I have to change the order. She didn't have to move or anything. With her iPad, she could change the order, right? Just simply change from small to big, make 5 or 10, whatever euros more. And that little moment, that's where I want to reach people. That little moment where, hey, it's a good thing. Firstly, I make more money. Secondly, sure, no problem. Anything else for you? Is like, is this a good example? Does everybody feel what the and
what was the gift? The gift in it, right?
Yes, what was the gift in it? But to me, my first impression was, oh, I made her feel uncomfortable, or she's really annoyed now. She has to change the order. But at the end of the day, I don't know. These are the things when you go to work and you have a different setup, a different motherboard programming, you don't react like that. You say, sure, no problem. Even if you have a tough day, even if you have stress with your partner, with your boss, with your whatever, you know? And this is where we need to fill that scale and create the balance. Yeah.
To come into a state of self-empowerment, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly,
Yes.
Iris.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that as you were talking, describing that scenario, Claudia, what came up for me was, you know, this is what happens when staff members become disengaged. It's like, you know, what am I even doing here? You know, I don't matter. What's the point? Why should I put the effort in? All of those things start to come up for them, which is why it is absolutely crucial for companies to invest well in their staff's well-being, because from everything that we've spoken about already, and I'm going to have to wrap this up shortly, but from everything that has been said, what I think what we could all feel was that sense of, my gosh, if you just give these people what they need so that they can deal with the stresses, they can close down some tabs, they can be focused and present and here, what a difference that will make for them and the business.
Exactly. And many years ago, I worked with Siemens and United Nations, where I did a different program, which was not as holistic as Body Wisdom. But, you know, if you always cover up for somebody, for example, who is often on MC, and you think, oh God, I have to cover up again because this person's consistently on MC. I know from experience that when people connect, medical leaves is reducing as well. And support for each other is increasing, and all these kind of things. And it all starts not with a salary, not with a nice boss, not with a gym membership or something, whatever. It starts within. It starts with me getting up in the morning and not having my phone in my hand, but with me telling myself that I'm matter, I'm worthy of everything that I wish for or dream of. And before I do anything else, I have my breakfast and I tell myself how my day is going to look like. And I have a little bit of me time and a little bit of reminding myself, where's my boundaries? What do I want my day to look like today? And then we still go on the phone anyway. It's our life. But if you do implement consistent techniques and tools and habits, life can be so much better.
Yeah.
So much more joyful. Just so much more joyful. And there is a ripple effect for that. There is the ripple effect.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, every time I meet you, it's just you caused this ripple effect, because I've never seen you in any form or way being not open to discuss anything. And but sometimes time is precious, I know. But we need to learn to be more open first to ourselves, and that ripples out and it makes a difference. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, listen, I'm being time conscious because I kind of feel we could probably speak for hours really easily and share I think the power that the Body Wisdom program is offering up, and it is powerful. It is powerful because it's connecting people back to themselves, to their bodies, to be able to actually understand. And, you know, almost like when you say to somebody, you know, where do you feel that? And some people just are like, I don't even know what you mean. You know, we need to kind of bring them back to that place where I can identify where that is, and I can tell you what that feels like, because they are so back with themselves. And then they can take, and as I say at the beginning, really take their brilliance out into the world, in their jobs, in their relationships, at home, in their communities, and ripple it out. And for me, the excitement behind it all is that, wow, how different would our world look if this was out there and people were accessing it and doing the little daily things that are part and parcel of it. Wow. I'm excited.
Me too. Final words. I don't know if
Yes.
if you have read the book The Prophecies of Celestine. It's a super old book, and it actually was on the list of the books you have to read in your life at some point, I think. Anyway, in this book they describe when energy passes on, and when, you know, like when people who catch the energy all of a sudden have this green aura around them. And so you could, and this is my dream, and this is where I put my energy and I put my focus. I want everybody who does body wisdom to carry this green energy around them, and that people who know that that people who see that and who are also green connect, and to, you know, and to make it bigger and bigger and bigger and better. And I think we can do a lot to influence that if we get enough people on board to join us on this journey. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. It's exciting times. It really is exciting times. And excuse me, Claudia, you know, first of all, you know, thank you for coming full circle with the program, actually just pulling all these brilliant modalities together to create the Body Wisdom program. Thank you for inviting us in to be part of that with you and to bring our individual expertises and knowledge to the table. And with that, I want to say, Sarah, thank you so much again for bringing all of your beautifulness into this. And Iris, exactly the same. Thank you for bringing all of your beautifulness into this. You know, we're going to go out and create magic in the world. I believe that is what we're here to do. And I sincerely hope for anyone who's listening to this, if you have a team, or if you're part of a team and perhaps you can be the voice in your company that says, we need to do things differently. We need to change things up. We need to switch things up. And I know a program that may just be the right one. Please, please, out to Claudia.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love the way you put this final words together. Awesome, Yvonne. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you all so much. Thank you.